Hi everyone, it's me, Carrie. So I want to talk about my photo a day video project and what I learned about life from doing it. And it's still my channel trailer to this day. But anyway, I started this project in 2014. I took a photo of myself holding a sheet of paper, writing the day's date and interesting facts about the day, like how old I was on that day. And I did that for 8 years. And then in 2022, I uploaded this time lapse video kind of scrolling through time of those photos. And it pauses when it reaches some life milestone, like if I start a year of high school or something like that. So anyway, I released this in 2022. I think a common question that viewers would have would, well, first of all, I thought this was sort of like one of my magnum opus video projects because it has so much like work put into it. But one of the common questions that viewers would have is like, when do you plan to stop? Like, do you have a end date plan in your head, or do you want to do this for the rest of your life? And also in this video itself, I did at some point say like, well, maybe I'll see you again in 2 years when I reach the 10-year mark. But that would have been 2024, and that year already passed. So clearly I didn't actually do the 10-year thing. So spoiler alert, I stopped taking photos of myself before the 10-year mark. I think it was around like spring of 2023 that I stopped. And some people might be like, oh, you're so close to the 10-year milestone. Like, why don't you just continue for the last year and then be done with it? But I think that like in my head, okay, so here's what I think happened. So I uploaded this video and, it got a decent amount of traction. It got about 1 million views. And also I was inspired to do this by watching other videos like this. Like there's one by Rebecca Brown called, I think, She Takes a Photo of Herself Every Day. And this one, if you look at the timing, makes sense because this video came out June 2014 and then I started my project in July 2014. But I think one thing I kind of thought to myself, well, first of all, some like onlooker might be like, oh, well, you noticed that it got a decent number of views, but not like a ginormous number of views. So maybe you just thought it wasn't worth it and you quit. So like, the views weren't worth it or something like that. And I mean, that might be an element to it, but I think there's a deeper aspect. By the way, let me just like show you like what I'm talking about. Like, photo a day till married. There is one video that's like very famous. This one has 270 million views. And like, I think that, a lot of it has to do with like the storytelling of the video. This is from age 12 to married. So it feels like there's a lot more of a transition happening. So I don't think it's like jealousy. I think it has more to do with, okay, when I made this video, I sort of my whole life hold myself to this standard of video production where I have to be like one of a kind beyond or a higher level of everyone else. So there were like dozens of these sorts of videos on YouTube. The most famous one from the beginning was like, I think Noah Kalina's Photo Every Day, and like Noah's like the first person to do it seriously. But they all just kind of like show their face, like they're not holding anything. And I just thought to myself like, oh, because I'm Carrie Huang and because I try to impress people with the most spectacle possible of like, I don't know, making Scale of the Universe when I'm 12 or like making 4 hours of animation in 2 years or something. Like I can do what everyone else does, but like leagues above that. So like let me like write on a sheet of paper every single day. And I think that like holding myself to that expectation, I used to think is what pushed me to do cool things, but I think later just put me under so much stress. And I think that like when this video came out and I realized this was like hundreds of hours of work and like it wasn't worth all the turmoil and like all the late nights like writing these sheets of paper, I just thought to myself like, it makes me almost like viscerally not want to continue this project. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that, so like for the first couple years, I'm starting to forget at this point, I would hold up the sheet of paper with the date and then take a photo. But what that would mean is that like I'd often procrastinate because like writing on the sheet of paper takes time. So I would like wait and then it would be like midnight and then I'd be like, oh shoot, I'm running out of time to do it. So then I would do it. But that means the photos always happened around midnight. And at some point in like 2017, I told myself like I can ditch the paper and just hold my fingers like this. And then that allowed me to take the photos in a lot more diverse locations. And in retrospect, I feel like this portion of the video is actually the most interesting and the most storytelling. Like there's a lot more visually memorable things in my mind when I see this. Like I'm instantly taken back to this environment. Whereas when I had sheets of paper, I don't think there's much memory going on here because it's just the same like midnight photo. So I think that like what this is telling me kind of more generally is that striving for perfection actually gets you to the opposite of that. Or it's like striving to tell the perfect story might often result in you telling less story. So like this is just inherently better. But then when COVID hit, I think around 2020, I started bringing the paper back. And I don't really know. I think I did it because I was like, we were in lockdown anyway, so who cares? But like, who wants to see just endless photos of my bathroom at my parents' house? Like that's just not good. So anyway, like I think this whole thing finished, and I thought like in some ways it was a very like emotionally intense video, you know, like watching my whole life flash behind my eyes, in front of my eyes. But I guess I just felt like I can't do that to myself, you know. I think that like the fun of making YouTube is that it's lighthearted. Like I always compare TV versus YouTube, where TV you have to kind of write these proposals and get them approved by some like green lighting board of directors, and it takes like years to get anything from like an idea in your brain to reality. And I think YouTube is the opposite of that, and it gets the beauty of spontaneity and kind of like the free mind of like moving around from thing to thing to thing. Like that's the beauty of YouTube. And I think that like this project wasn't the right direction I want to go in. So yeah, I guess that's the spoiler. Like I've stopped. If I were to start again, I would do it with just the fingers and not worry about the paper. And I just think that like, yeah, like like a million views again, like that is a lot in the grand scheme of things. And I know people always say like, don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to like imagining a million people in one location, like in a football stadium. And you realize like, dang, there's a lot of people focusing on me at once. And that's like, I would feel very overwhelmed and emotional. Like, you know, you get the idea. But, you know, there's like videos that took like 2 days of work, like Algecosathlon Day 2. That was probably like 3 hours of recording and 3 hours of editing done, has more views than that. And maybe you might say like, well, it doesn't mean as much to you personally, which is kind of true, but like it kind of did more in the wider world. Like that series inspired a lot of people. So I just feel like, you know, yeah, this whole project was just, I don't know. I'm a little like, I know I should be proud of myself. Like that's the main thing is like I did it, and I did something that no one else did. But at what cost? You know, like I think that people are always like, Carrie, you should be proud of everything you've accomplished. But like I think if I were to like spend like hundreds of hours in 1 year on a project instead of like 10 different projects, that would be a waste. And I don't want people to constantly say like more quality over quantity until we get to the point where like I only have time to make like one project a year. Like that wouldn't be good. So I think you get what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I think that like as I've gotten older, I've just sort of realized that I am human and I'm just like everyone else. Like one thing I sort of thought is like sometimes when I make things like evolution simulators, you know, people who don't know how to code will comment like, wow, Carrie's so smart. And like maybe next video, Carrie's creatures will gain sentience because they're getting smarter and smarter. And I think that like I would see those comments, and I know they're trying to be nice, but I think part of me would also like remind myself I am just as human as those people who are watching this video. So if those humans watching don't know how to code sentience into those evolution simulators on their computer, I shouldn't hold myself to that standard either. Because like, you know, when I make these simulators, I don't have some godlike intuition about what will happen next. Like I'm just, like I have the same 24 hours as everyone else who is existing on this planet. So I think that like this, yeah, the mindset that like I somehow have like a higher level of ability or like some superhuman power, like it's a belief that I could hold for a few years when things were going really well in my favor. But now that I'm older and now that like I am feeling tired more often and that like I'm noticing my own pitfalls, I think it's just very comfortable to accept that like I get limited the same way as other people get limited, and this is sort of like a superhuman thing to expect someone to do. Just like imagining like all like every time I see a photo that's like another like night at midnight where I was like, I have one more assignment. And then the other thing I was gonna say is, shoot, I forget. There's something else I was gonna mention about this project. Well, I guess I could like do one right now just for the fun of it. Like I just bought these new markers like literally like a couple hours ago, so I thought it could be a fun project for me, just like good old times, to create a paper and show you what it was kind of like to do this. Okay, so today is October 25th, Saturday. So let's do that. Also, this sheet of paper is, Stanford sent me a letter asking for donations. Oh my God, this is bringing back memories. Like I already know that like approximately how big to make the word. So that says Saturday, and I need to make it this size so that like there's room for all the other information as well. Saturday, October 25th. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to mention is kind of like the rebellious nature of the human spirit. Like, I think if you push a human too far in one direction, they are going to overcompensate, and that's just a natural, healthy thing to do. So I think a good example of that is like Miley Cyrus when she was Hannah Montana on Disney Channel. She was like this like goody two shoes girl that everyone loved, and then she had her bangers era in 2013 where she was twerking everywhere. And I think that some people would like look at that from the outside and be like, what is she doing? That's not the Miley I know. But I think that like people feel the urge to do that to really prove what, like, that the conception they had previously was wrong, and they need to overcompensate. And I think that like for me, quitting this project so defiantly at such a odd time is that kind of overcompensation. Because again, like, oh wait, hold on. Let's see. Days between. So I would have to Google this, and at some point I wrote a script to do it myself, but whatever. Okay, I'm 10,448 days old, which is fun. So I guess what I mean is like, there is part of me that thinks like, would it really have been hard to hold on for just one more year if I've already done 9 years to get to the 10-year mark? Because now that I've stopped, if I ever want to hit the 10-year mark, I'm going to have to start over and wait until I'm 38 years old. And like, that's just insane. So, you know, I'm just going to do lazy math. This isn't actually accurate because like leap years are not like evenly divisible, but it doesn't matter. So I'm this many years old. So like when I think to like the grand scheme of my life, like, is it appropriate that I ended the project after about 9 years? And like, but I think to myself, like, maybe the fact it was so close to 10 and then I stopped is a way of showing to the world like that like almost nothing, like if you feel that like you have to kind of hit rock bottom before you can rebound, that's what this is. Like, if you have to prove that like my human brain cannot do superhuman things anymore and I need to like rebound, then so be it. So I guess like in terms of the day for this video, I'm just going to pretend like I've been doing this the whole time. So that would be days between July 1, 2014 and today. I added one. I put the wrong date by mistake. Okay. 4,134. Also, there could be off by one errors because July 1st was day 1, not day 0. But this is, again, just to like kind of demonstrate how I would do these things. And so, oh my god, it really has been 11 years. It's so weird because like when I had the memories of doing this, the number of years I would write for how long this project is going on would always be like 0 years, 1 year, 2 years, and then I stopped doing the paper. And when I brought it back, I was always like 5 years, 6 years, like 6 years, 7 years. And then when I finished, it was 8 years. So like to write a 5-digit number right there just doesn't feel right. So I guess then I would write like what I did, like my personal activity for the day. So I could just say I filmed a humany. No, sorry, it's a Lazy KH video. See, I don't even care enough to like see for the project. If I would miswrite my blurb, I would literally like get another sheet of paper and start over instead of doing the scribble thing, even though it would only show up for a frame. I filmed a Lazy KH video discussing my photo day project. I think the other thing is, part of me feels like having this video is a little bit invasive privacy-wise because like people can see kind of the clothes I wear every day or like just like my daily routine, and like very little is kind of left to the imagination. Obviously, I wouldn't write about daily events that I didn't want the world to know because I knew that like it would be posted at some point. But like part of me just felt like maybe I should make this video private because it's a very personal story that I'm telling, and I think only I understand like the relevance and context of a lot of these pictures. And it also, yeah, feels like I'm kind of like naked and splayed open on the surgery table as the internet can watch my whole life flash by. And sometimes I felt like that made me feel, yeah, like I don't want to say violated because it's nowhere near that level of like, yeah, it's more just like just kind of exposed. I felt very much like exposed. So I think that like it almost seems appropriate to like make this video private because then it's like a me project and not uh, not for you. But I kept it up because I just felt like, no one thought too much of it. Also, I guess then in orange, I would put like the news event for the day. So sometimes I would go on news.google.com. I don't even know if this website is still exactly the same. Well, I guess it still is. I'll write about Storm Melissa. I feel like that's pretty, like, everyone can agree. Okay, Storm Melissa. I'm writing this one right here. Reaches hurricane strength. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. I don't need to like write the whole storyline. So yeah. So I know that a lot of this video has been kind of negative and talking about like how things have should have gone differently. Anyway, what I would do is I'd go like this, cha-ching, and then I'll take a photo and then it's done. Maybe I'll make it bigger just for now. But I do think that like photo day projects in general are still a good thing to do. Okay, we're good. But like if you're gonna do it, make it something that you would feel make the routine something you'd be comfortable doing even on your tiredest days, your sickest days, and your busiest days, because you will have to do that. And then the other thing, so I would recommend no paper. But I do think that like it does get a little emotional when you watch the time lapse go by for the first time. Like when I first compiled the videos together, like 4 years in, I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like a rush of emotion just reliving all those moments. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like now that like the internet, like the most famous people on the internet are not people who spend a lot of time on a single thing, but people who like streamers. We live in the streamer era, and streamers don't plan for things. But also, like, I don't want to be famous. Like the way that streamers are famous feels really dangerous at this point, and like who would want stalkers? So it's different. But like I just think, yeah, I think I've talked enough. I think you catch my drift. I'm in a few group chats of people who do this, like the photo everyday like group chat. So I don't know if they're gonna think that like, I don't know if they're gonna see this. They're probably not gonna see this. But I just think, make your projects bite-sized, make them very manageable, and you're more likely to follow through with them. And I think it is, I think I already talked about things enough. But yeah, this is such a beautiful palette from Blick. And it's a Blick. I think it looks very French. It's Carandache. I don't know how to pronounce that, but like it doesn't have many greens though. It has every other color. It's got a lot of earthy tones on the right side. And then this is the paper, which is beautiful. And like I have literally thousands of papers like that sitting in my house. Like I show them in the video. I just want to show you guys because like I know you can watch the video if you want to find out, but just for completeness' sake, and then I'll end the video. If you go to the end of the video, then you can see that like I have the papers all lined up in folders on my bookshelf, they're still there, by the way, just collecting dust. I mean, it is kind of cool. I will admit it is cool that I can, whenever I go back home, I can pick out the folder and literally touch the paper and like know that like, oh my gosh, I touched this paper on that exact day. And I can do that for any day in history, like the day that Harambe sadly passed away, or the day that like, I don't know, I graduated college. Like literally all of it is there. So I think that like it is cool in a way. I just really don't think it's worth the ridiculous amount of effort that it took. Yeah, so wait, hold on. Is there a photo of it? So yeah, you can see that like here I kind of lay out all the papers for just 1 year. This is just 6 months of papers, and like I don't know, it just, yeah. So I'm trying to like show off, but the thing is like, okay, the last thing I want to say about this is that something shouldn't get views because it is a lot of hard work. It should get a lot of views because it's interesting or fun to watch. So if you were to like spend 10 hours eating pine cones and swallowing them, it would be like one of the most painful, excruciating activities you could do, but it doesn't mean that it's good content. And I think that like I thought to myself like, wow, if I just impress people enough and blow off their pants, maybe like whatever, like by showing off all the stuff on the table, it's gonna make them have to share it with their friends. But that's just not how it works. Like I could lay all these papers on the table and it doesn't make it more fun to watch. So I think that's a lesson I've kind of learned. It's just like you gotta just have fun with it. And I mean, yeah, it happened. So whatever. I think that's my thought. Bye. Yeah, thank you for watching. Also, more generally, I want to make more videos on Lazy KH, just rambling like this, and I know no one is asking for this, but it's because I find that I upload either A, humany videos where I kind of act like a clown voluntarily, but I think that like, because I know that people like watching that, but I feel like the people who want to know like what's really going on in Carrie's head won't get that. And when I'm feeling like, oh, I really want to get this genuine thought out of my head, I also don't get that. And either A, that, or B, Carrie KH videos, which take a lot of editing and time and like planning. And so off the cuff conversational remarks don't happen. So I want to have more conversational things. I do think like that's why I'm happy that I have that podcast with Emily on Control Alt Create. But I think that like I want to do it more, and I just feel like there's a lot of things about this world that I think we can all agree on, like the fact that, I don't know, corporate culture is like unbearable sometimes, and like I sometimes feel like, you know, if we just chat about it, we can come to common ground. Emily changed the profile picture to this photo, which I actually think it looks a lot better than the old one. The old one we were going like back to back and it was kind of weirdly lit, but this one's actually very well lit. So yeah, oh my gosh, Control Alt Create, check it out after this video. Yeah, anyway, is this video half an hour? No, it's 21 minutes. I think 21 minutes is a good ending time for this. Thank you for watching my last ever paper. The last thing I was going to say is that, so I have had periods of my life where I would have bouts of depression. And I think that, you know, one of them was definitely spurred by like college graduation in 2019. And I am astonished that I managed to like still do the photo a day project through that. Oh my God, there's an AI summary. Well, this is all true. Okay, journey through 8 years of daily life. This time lapse showcases personal transformation from high school to post grad. Well, that's all very true. Set to a medley of public. That is all true. So this is shockingly good of a summary, but obviously like it doesn't have the same weight as the video itself. Okay, anyway, what I was gonna point out is that like during summer 2019, I was like incredibly depressed because yeah, I had just finished college. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I'm like shocked that I still got a photo out every day. But in 2023, I had another bout of depression, and I don't want to like make myself a victim or anything, but like I think that like it is during those periods that it feels almost like, what is the point? Or like just that like I didn't see an end path for this project, or I didn't really see why any of it was worth it. So I think that like if anything, that was the nail in the coffin for the project. Like yeah, 2023 and just not feeling emotionally well. Like maybe in 2024 I could have brought it back and I felt better then, but like, you know, the project was already done by that point. So anyway, I think this is the last photo of 2019, is it? Oh, that is 2020. Oh my God, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so I think that like life throws too many turns to really maintain a project like this sometimes. Like you never know if you'll get addicted to drugs, or you'll get like kidnapped, or you'll like get injured. Like I don't know, like some of these things would make it impossible to take photos, and you can't blame yourself for that. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this very rambly video. I'll see you all later. Bye everyone.